Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with a very special episode of Hard to Port, the series where I take a look at different Android ports of various classic video games to let you know whether or not I think that they are well worth it, whether they made that jump well, or whether they were apparently hard to port. Now today we are going to be looking at Castlevania Symphony of the Night, hence this being a super special episode, as this literally out of nowhere dropped this morning. Now before we jump in, if you do enjoy this video, please let me know by hitting like on it, and consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already for all things mobile gaming and a lot more of these Android port reviews as well around here. Let me know what content you would like to see me cover in the future, and let me know in the comment section down below, or by coming and finding me on the various different social media channels along the bottom of the screen now. I really do love chatting with you guys. I love hearing what you're playing, what you're enjoying. I love your thoughts and opinions on the games that I talk about. I just love chatting mobile gaming, so please do come find me. Always up for a chat. That said and done, let's jump into looking at Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Now, Castlevania Symphony of the Night is one of those really seminal games. It is really important in the history of video gaming. Castlevania, prior to Symphony of the Night, had basically been a side-scrolling adventure game, like of Rondo of Blood and Castlevania Adventure. With Symphony of the Night, it was like Konami took a look at games like Super Metroid and went, oh, yeah, we want some more of that. And they opened the game right up into this massive exploration-based game where you basically explore this humongous castle and you look for upgrades that will allow you to explore more. If you've played the Metroid games, or if you've played games like Hollow Knight, you'll kind of understand the basic concept. Now, these are called Metroidvania games. The Vania comes from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. That's how important this game was. Now, I've been looking for a Castlevania-like game on mobile for a long time now. I actually had a lot of fun with Grimvalor. That was how I found Grimvalor. Thoroughly enjoyed Grimvalor. I'm saying Grimvalor a lot to hopefully get it stuck in your head, so you go check it out, either on the video, which I'll put a card to on screen now, or go check out the game. Amazing game and well worth your time. But let's have a look at Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This literally dropped out of nowhere this morning, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into a brand new game, and we're just going to talk about this as we go. Now, straight up, I'm going to say here, minor spoilers, Richter and Maria are characters that appear in the game, and it's immediately telling you here that if you enter those names as your name, you can play as those characters. I'll have a look at that later. I want to jump into the main game itself. Those were cheat codes in the original. Obviously, Konami is very well known for its cheat codes. We're going to jump in as Benzie and just go with the main standard game. Now, I do have my Razor Jungle Cat here in front of me as well, in case the on-screen controls are terrible, but I want to have a go using the actual on-screen controls here. I'm not going to have a look through all these, I will skip through the cutscenes, because cutscenes are not fun to watch whilst I'm trying to talk, but it's nice to see that they do work. We're just going to jump straight into the game and have a look. Now, straight up, the controls on the screen actually feel quite nice. I quite like this. This is very smooth. With the, jumping is good control. You know, everything's nice and responsive. Buttons are a good size, it's a nice layout. I'm actually really quite impressed with that. That's really quite a big change. I like this. Okay, well, not a big change. Big change is the wrong phrase, but it's nice to see a mobile game where the on-screen controls actually aren't bad at all. Okay, that's always a tricky jump. Up we go. Yes, we can make it. Get all the upgrades just because we can. I don't even remember if the upgrades do anything at this point, because, spoiler alert, Symphony of the Night ultimately starts with the end of Rondo of Blood. And what we're doing here is a 32-bit PlayStation-era rendition of the end of Rondo of Blood, just to remind you where in the Castlevania story we are. So here I am as Richter, up we come into Dracula's castle at the end of Rondo of Blood, and we get this wonderful conversation, which again, I am going to skip through just because I don't want to waste my time on text. You can experience all this yourself when you play the game. Well worth playing Symphony of the Night, and here we are up against Dracula. This is the opening of the game. What a great way to start the game with the previous game's ending boss. So what we're going to do is we're just going to literally fight through this guy, see how well I can do against him, how quickly I can take him out, if at all. I should be able to. Played this game quite a few times in the past. Has been a long time since I last went through it. I'll be honest, I did download the PS4 version of Symphony of the Night when it came out, because to me that is it's an awesome game, and when it was on PS4, brilliant, you know, great for me to play through and just have a bit of fun with, but at the same time, I'm a mobile gamer. I get stuff on the PS4 and I'll dabble in it and play it a little bit, but what I really want to be doing is playing games on my phone and making videos about them that way. To me, that's just it's a better use of my time. And if this is seeming pretty easy at this point in time, again, this comes from A, me knowing the abilities for Richter, and B, also not really caring, and you'll see why I say that just now. But yeah, talking about the touchscreen controls, I am actually really quite impressed with these. It's nice and easy even to do like the more complex maneuvers like you saw there, of jumping and turning backwards. I say complex maneuvers. It's complex for some mobile games with the on-screen controls are just terrible. Here, this is actually not bad at all. It's responsive. I like this. You know, you can get into position and actually remarkably maneuverable. There we go. And now we come into phase 2. Phase 2 of this fight. I've got to admit, as an opening for a game, I'm always in two minds about Symphony of the Night. On one hand, it's a really cool intro to be up against the boss. On the other hand, it's a really quite slow and heavy fight. But I do say, stick with it and you'll see why. In she comes, uses her magic, and this is not even my final form. Big sort of anime sort of thing, which in fairness actually is a pretty good thing to talk about with Castlevania. As I discovered, the 3rd season of the Netflix series is on Netflix, and if you haven't watched that and you like Castlevania, that's well worth watching. Richard Armitage as Belmont is just a really, really great way of doing it. He does so well. Again, I'm just going to skip through this, and we're going to go straight into the main game. I do wholeheartedly recommend that. I don't really want to spend much time here talking about a Netflix series of all things, but if you like Castlevania, it's actually worth checking out, and Season 3 is now out, which, I don't know, maybe that's why Konami have decided to drop this. Now here we are in the main game proper, playing as Alucard. You can see I can jump through here. I've got access to some really cool abilities, very powerful weapon, pretty much one-shotting all these wargs as we go through the castle. Bam, down you go. I've got a shield as well. Obviously, you've got your dodge button. The map is absolutely atrocious at this point. It's pretty much non-existent. But here we are as Alucard going through Dracula's castle. And it's kind of a bit of a power trip at this point in the game. You just kind of one-shot everything on the run through, although the zombies are annoying. And on we go. It's worth knowing that, as you've seen there, level-ups are a thing in Symphony of the Night. As you play through the game, not only do you get experience for killing enemies, you get new abilities and new things you can do. Like at this point in time, you know, you've got the high jump, well, a high-ish jump. There are higher jumps later available, like you get the double jump and stuff like that. And you've got some powerful weapons here going on that allow me to do some serious damage to the guys going through. You see I've got like the shield. If I go into the pause menu, should be here. Yep, equipment, there we are. So you've got all of Alucard's stuff here, which is really, really like powerful equipment. You do get to upgrade your equipment as the game goes on, and you get your new abilities in that as well. So if you're ever struggling, it's one of those games where you can like explore a bit more. There might be something that you've missed out on, some powerful weapons if there's a boss that's giving you hell, or an area that you haven't explored properly and make more going on. Now I say, like, you know, you start off really powerful, because along comes Death, and again I'm going to skip through the text here. Long story short, Death decides to rip away all of your abilities and leave you completely freaking naked in the middle of Dracula's castle, because it's Death. And other than in Discworld, let's be honest, Death tends to be a bit of a, yeah, not an overly great guy. But we can come up through the tower here, jump our way up, see if I can get the, not that I'm going to need it, it could be life I suppose. Yep, there we are. Nope, nothing. It's well worth pointing out as well that the hearts that you see me pick up aren't actually life in Castlevania. Hearts aren't life. They are actually up there, like ammo. There we are. I've just picked up a short sword, so now I can go into the equipment menu. I can go to right hand and equip a short sword, because screw going through the game punching everything. That's just not fun. There we go. And I've now, as you can see, got a short sword, which we can use and go through like this. And the path that way is blocked, so we'll come back through. Like, okay, if I open up the map, you'll see what I mean here. You see that room that I've just gone in there, near to where it's flashing? It's got a door on the other side. I can't get through this side, so we're going to have to explore more of the castle and come round from the other side, eventually unlock that health upgrade at a future date. Ah, the Red Rust, a terrible, terrible sword for this point in the game. And save points here as well. Stand in front of them, press up, and you do have save points. Now, when I was downloading this game, I did have a look through and read about like what has changed in this version, if anything, other than obviously this has touch controls, and this does have a continue system, which does not exist in other games. Basically, In Castlevania, if you die, you go back to your last save point, and that can make this game horrendously difficult in some places, simply as it can be a humongous long trek from your save point to whichever boss you're fighting. And there is nothing worse than getting your butt kicked by a boss and then having like a half an hour run back from the last time you saved to where you are. Now in this case, because obviously it's a mobile game as well, you sometimes need to be able to answer a call, switch off your phone, or you just reach wherever your bus was going, that kind of thing. The idea is here that you now have a continue system, which means when you die, you can just hit continue and it takes you back to the last little mini checkpoint you went through, which from what I gather is kind of like, it's occasional rooms are checkpoints, but they're just obviously a lot more frequent than the save rooms are, which are really quite thin and far between in the castle, and you do end up opening up shortcuts, almost Dark Souls style sometimes, to get access to those save points much quicker. I'm going to take this opportunity as well to go back into the equipment menu, see if there's anything I've missed equipment-wise. Yep, there we are, hide cuirass, no cloak, and nothing should be under other, because those are things like rings that we don't get until much later. Actually, that said, we've mentioned I'm really enjoying the touch controls here. I am going to pause, and I'm going to take this opportunity just to connect the Jungle Cat and let you know how it works. Okay, that's the Jungle Cat connected. You get a nice little update on screen when that goes live. Let's see how this works. Oh, same mapping as the PlayStation game, which is great. And, oh, that's nice, that's nice. Now, it sounds silly that I want to test how the mobile controller works with it. Ultimately, the thing I found is some games that have on-screen touch controls have developed that and then just kind of gone, I suppose we should add support for controllers as well. And they kind of almost feel like they throw it in. This, I can use the D-pad to move, I can use the sticks to move as well. That's quite nice that they allow you to use both. I prefer the D-pad in games like this, because when I first played this, it was on the original PlayStation before the DualShock came out. So I played it using the D-pad, and I just find that it gets me that little bit of control better. But sometimes, yeah, sometimes you play through a mobile game that claims to have controller support, and it's just not overly great. This, on the other hand, this actually feels really quite solid. I'm actually really quite impressed with how this feels controller-wise, although, as I said, the actual on-screen controls as well, I don't feel... like if you've been keeping up with this Hard to Port series and watched the R-Type video, I mentioned there that ultimately to play R-Type, I felt like the controller was needed. The on-screen controls were terrible. Here the on-screen controls were actually really solid. Like, I'm really impressed with how they are. And so I don't feel like you need a controller to play this one. I think a controller is always going to be beneficial, and I'm always super happy to have my my Jungle Cat. It's a very small little controller. I can fit this comfortably into my backpack when I'm going most places. Like I'm going fishing this weekend, I probably will have it with me there. But it's just a great little, it doesn't feel required, is what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to get at here. Some mobile games, it feels like the controller is required. Here, it just feels like a nice option to have. So we're going to come into the library. This should be, if I recall, our first major boss of the game. I'm not at full health, which is typical. Yep, there they are. Eek. Eek. We're going to try and kill these guys, although I probably am going to die. As I said, Symphony of the Night is a very tough game. There's no two ways about it. This game really, really it's taxing. It is a brutal game. Difficulty is right up there. With a lot of this kind of game in this era, PlayStation 1 era. Games weren't as easy as they can be, and I know that's a typical sort of, oh, get good kind of comment. Yeah, I'm getting my backside handed to me here. But can I go anywhere? No, that's just a door there. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else in the room. I'm running low on ammo. Eek! I should be ducking under that. Running low on ammo, which really should be, yeah, something that I considered before coming into it. I completely forgot the boss was in this room. So there we go. That's me dead on the Alucard playthrough. Now, I do just want to check as well, as the game mentioned that you can go in as Maria or Richter. I just want to see what it is like on the Maria playthrough. It's been a long time since I did a Maria run. So we're going to jump in after the game over screen and have a look at Maria on a new run. So if we go create or load and then up to new game, if we name it Maria, which was the old code, and it is, as it says, it does say in the game that this is the thing. Let's go through. We're going to skip the intro cutscene. And yes, it is. We're straight in as Maria, which adds a whole new way to play the game. Do Alucard first. 100% do Alucard first. It's the main story. It's going to help you get used to the game. Maria is a lot squishier than Alucard. Her path's a little bit different, and some of her upgrades are different. Definitely play the game first as Alucard, but it is just nice that has been included, and that the devs have kind of gone, actually, do this straight off the bat. Do this straight off the bat. You know, it's there right away. Because obviously not a lot of people necessarily know about the cheat codes. First time I went through this game, actually, was back in the days when the internet wasn't really a thing. You kind of, if you got stuck on a game, it was go out and buy the next issue of Games Master magazine and hope that it's got one of those cheat books attached to it, where you can, oh, crikey, hello, where you can, this is how long it's been since I did Maria, where you can read all about the different cheat codes and read walkthroughs and guides and that kind of thing. I just really like that, you know, I kind of miss those days, but obviously IGN and all these different walkthrough websites now are just useful. Do try, if you give this a go, which I wholeheartedly recommend you should, do try and do this as much as you can without a walkthrough. Half the fun is not going the optimal route, it's finding the wrong way, finding areas that you shouldn't be in, that are too powerful for you, or just getting lost and getting stuck. Learn to use your map, learn to have a proper look around this place, and just, I don't know. To me, it's one of those games that the whole joy in it is its difficulty in getting lost and what you find en route. And there is so much to find. This game, genuinely, even on a decent run, you're looking at, what, 20, 30 hours on your first playthrough, if not considerably longer. Which kind of brings me to the point, for a mobile game, this is well worth grabbing, because this is just gonna, this will take you a long time. It will keep you going a long time. There's a lot to unpack here, a lot to go through, and can I recommend it? Wholeheartedly. Yeah, I mean, sure, you could go down the route of emulating the game. I won't lie, you can go through like an Android PlayStation emulator and go down that route, go through, download the game, and, you know, then do it that way. But for the, I don't know, I just think that, simply put, it's worth going in on this genuine version of it, this port. Those touchscreen controls alone, just, they make the difference to me. They really are just great controls. I don't even, it's kind of hard to explain. You just need to me, it's worth going for the official port, just so you have those on-screen controls and you don't need to go for the you know, like a controller if you're using the emulated version, which, quite frankly, I have emulated this game using EPSXE, and it's just, it's not the same. It's not the same. This feels so good to play. Wholeheartedly, I recommend giving this a download and a try. If it's your first time going through Symphony of the Night, this is a game that I believe everyone should go through at least once. But if it's not your first playthrough, then still, if this is a game you love, this is a great port of it. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here, because I don't want to showcase off too much of this. If this is a game you want to see more of me play, then do let me know. I've considered a couple of different titles now as something that I could do a Let's Play series of. Grimvalor was actually one of them. So a Let's Play of Symphony of the Night is something that I'm definitely not averse to doing. I would quite enjoy that. If you guys would enjoy watching it, it's something we could look at possibly doing on this channel in the future. Just something to give me a little bit of content just between other bits of news and other things going on. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts on Symphony of the Night here, if this is a game that you know and love from your childhood. Let me know what you think. Have you tried this port? Are you going to try this port? Let me know how you get on with it if you do. Always, always, always very interested to hear how you all go, how you guys all get on. It's one of my favourite types of comments to get when I talk about, like, you know, yeah, I think this is well worth downloading, give it a try, and then I get someone come back a couple of days later and say, oh, actually, I gave it a try, I'm really impressed with this, or I gave it a try, it wasn't for me, here's my thoughts. I love hearing your guys' thoughts on these things as well, so please do let me know. Anyway, all that said and done, I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you ever so much, folks, for watching this far into the video. I do hope to hear from you all soon. Happy sailing, and I hope you enjoy Castlevania.